Hey everybody, I'm Joey Evans, and this is a series I started a while back about 3D printed upgrades and things that you can print at home. As you know, I just got a Bamboo P1S, so I've been printing a lot of stuff. And I mentioned in there about trying to get some ideas out there about what I am 3D printing lately. So I have included some things I've printed in the past couple months that some are inserts and some are just upgrades to games. So these are things that are out there. I'll give you links below on where to find these, but these are just some things I've printed for my games. First off, inserts. This is not all about inserts. The inserts are probably the most boring for some people, but the most useful for others. Inserts I have a love and hate relationship with. I printed some for Marvel, I think United a while back, and it's great, but it adds a lot of weight to the box. Because a lot of places like Folded Space, I love their inserts because they're light. But when you start printing something, it does add a lot of weight. But that being said, as opposed to if they're painted, put them in a bag, it's kind of a give and take because they could easily break if you just throw them in there, especially if they're painted. Can chip off. So these are ones that will combine and condense a lot of different boxes into one box. First off, I'm going to go to the biggest, one of the biggest shelf hogs is Deep Rock Galactic. I printed this one right here. I'm going to show here how it goes in. This is an insert that I printed. This one was not free. This was $14 on Etsy. And this, so I don't mind paying for things because honestly, I could not figure out myself how to put this together because the physics that go into this is just incredible. First off, everything in here is printed in different colors, which they do recommend because then you can see what's different between base game and all the expansions. So if you want to play, you know what color is base game and then what color are the expansions. I really like that. Also, this does have some lid lift in it. So know that going in. If you don't like lid lift, then that's fine. But honestly, it fits all of these boxes into one box. That's pretty incredible. I mean, the physics of that, the fact they can just kind of shove them all in there is huge. So this is, I think, in fact, $13.95, $14 on Etsy. And for the file to download, it's great. Took me about a week to print, but I love it. It makes it to where it comes out easier. Everything fits in there. It's snug, but it's not overly snug. And now they're not painted, but now the next project is to paint those. And now they have somewhere nice to go. So anyway, this is for Deep Rock Galactic. Next off is another insert I printed because I love Freedom 5. And Freedom 5 has a big enough box, but that huge box doesn't fit everything. Yeah, and there's a lot more on top of that. So I found another insert for Freedom 5. And I found this was like, I think $5 on Cults 3D. I will put a link on there. The whole thing with this is all of this goes into the box. Now, I will say about these inserts, I do put pictures and things on the top of it, so I know how to repack it because all these go together like a puzzle. This insert is really, really nice. Everything goes into that one box. It puts together. The card cases in this are a little bit odd because they don't close as much. They kind of latch on the sides. It has like the design on it so you know what is in every card case. But everything stays together fine. They also fit sleeved cards, which is huge. And one thing I will say about this is they had a Mastermind track, which I did print here. The Mastermind track I really do like. I think it adds something special to the game, and this does fit inside the insert. One thing they did do too is these little coin capsules I've used in the past. Well, they're not coin capsules. The coin capsule I've used in the past for tokens, but these are kind of borders that you snap around tokens. I've never used these before, but I saw them in this, and those are actually free. And I think they have a link in that link I sent you where you can get these for free if you just want to add those to your game. These I might start adding to most of my games. They just give those little cardboard tokens a bit more heft. So when you grab them, they just feel good. They actually just snap around. These themselves, they had some of these for Captain Flip, which I think I'm going to go ahead and print for my next one. Because, again, I like these. So if you play the game a lot, that's going to make these, first off, it's going to make them more durable and not scratch as much. But second off, they just feel better. They have more heft to them. So anyway, that is Freedom 5. All right, another one is Radlands. Radlands was one that probably didn't need one as much, but I did see one insert that fits inside of the insert in the game but I didn't really like it because it didn't fit Cult of Chrome. It also didn't fit the sleeved cards. I know you don't need to sleeve those. Supposedly they're PVC or something, but I sleeve my cards in this because we play it a lot. But this I found on there, and I've got a link to it, but I also kind of redesigned it because my insert is no longer existent. So this fits in there as it is, and actually all the sleeve cards fit in there, including Cult of Chrome, including all those tokens, and it has room for anything else Radlands wants to come out with. Hint, hint, hint. But anyway, I think it's nice. I even put a little text in the front so I know, but it all fits into that one box pretty nice. I did get rid of the other travel box because if I travel, I'm just going to go and take this. But that's just me. All right, this is the silliest thing I think I printed, and that is an insert. It's crazy for sea salt and paper. Look at this. This right here, it's crazy because sea salt and paper, it comes with a normal little box, and they keep adding a few multi-card expansions, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it had some lid lift. And then if you ever sleeve the cards, mercy, it's got a lot of lid lift. So they have apparently Pandasaurus has no interest in printing something, getting you a bigger box. So this is pretty much what this is. It is just a bottom piece, and you get to use the same cover, and you drop it right on there. There we go. And that's it right there. I like this. They had other ones that just say sea salt and paper on it, but I like keeping the original cover if possible, because a lot of times, like those photo boxes, some people put the quick travel games in there, but as soon as you put them in a photo box and you bring it out and say, let's play this, and people don't see, I don't know, it's probably a mental thing. If you don't see the cover, you're like, what am I playing? So I do like having that cover on there. Anyway, this is something that I can then fit all of my sea salt and paper things sleeved, and I have room for whatever else they're coming out with. But that's sea salt and paper, and that's probably my last insert. So we are now going to get to some of the fun stuff. Okay, so the first game I printed kind of an upgrade thing to was Captain's Chair. You'd think, what would I print for Captain's Chair? Well, this right here was a little activation token right here. This I found a print for, and I found the idea, and I loved the idea. Because instead of, when you activate, instead of like turning them sideways to mark activation, I like being able to just drop this token on there. It's a very simple, quick print. I think in the future I may print these out of 2 colors, make them look a bit better, pop a bit more, maybe switch the layer, gray on the bottom, gold on the top, whatever. But these are really nice. I have several of these I'm going to put in my edition of Captain's Chair and drop them on there, and that denotes activation. So these are very quick. They're also free. They're unprintables. The link is below. But that is activation for Captain's Chair. Okay, so I love Clank, and I love Clank Catacombs. So anything I see out there that I can print or buy for Clank, I will. So I saw these shrines over here, and I had to have them. Now, mine are not painted, but these are great. These go on the shrines, and of course your cubes are going to go right there on top. This just looks more like a shrine. Anything that gives the board that more of a 3D feel as you walk through it is great. These, the ones actually on the link, I will put again below, but the link, they actually have them painted. That's our next thing to paint too. Get these painted, get these looking really nice. These look great out there on the Catacombs board. And again, these are great. It's a simple print. There are no supports. Everything comes right up and looks great right out of the printer. So these are the shrines for Clank Catacombs. A very easy print to add to your game. Okay, next is Cthulhu Death May Die. Lots of stuff to print for this, but I haven't printed a lot of it, but this, I just added these for the gates. Now, these gates right here, as you can see, I printed them in 2 pieces, right? So the gate will go right in here, and you've got the Cthulhu tentacles. This, again, adds that 3D element to the board that makes it just so much more immersive for me. One tip on printing this is one that I have printed several times for various reasons. First off, there's 2 ways you can print it. You can print it together like this, or you can print it separate, all right? They recommended separate, so I did do separate, but what I did is I had supports. Some of these do require supports. So I did it, but then on the ones that had supports, if it supports on the plate, you're going to see that you're going to have some kind of residue left over. That I did not like. So I actually changed the way I supported it. I went to tree supports on them, and then I put on build plate only. So if you look at supports like that, you can either tell it to support anywhere it can, or you can tell it to only have the supports on the build plate. What does that mean? Well, that means that instead of attaching right here on the actual model, they're going to come off a bit and attach on the build plate and then go up and go up. So the whole thing is the supports act the same way. They still serve the same purpose, but then you're not getting that double residue right here, because otherwise you'd have to remove the support from up here and down here. So you have more chance of artifacts forming here or being left after you pull the supports off. So if you are going to print those, then I do recommend trying tree supports and printing them on the build plate. Now I'm going to try to print them as one unit, see if that works out better. But anyway, I love this model. I love what it adds to the game. And again, once it's painted, it's going to look even better. Okay, and finally for SETI. There's a couple things I want to print for SETI. One is a little bit more difficult, take some wiring and stuff. Oh, when I print that, it's going to be so awesome. Speaking of which, there's something for a Sky Team I'm pretty excited about printing too. I've got everything printed, all the parts together. I just have to assemble it, and it's going to be glorious. I'll put it here on the channel when I do. But these are very simple prints. These are alternative energy tokens. So these look really good. I printed them in green and gray because that's, well, the color the tokens are. And that really looks good and makes them pop. You can print them one color if you want to, but if you do have something like the P1S or an AMS or some sort of system like that, you can print in two colors. Again, no supports on these. These just print as is, and I really, really love supportless printing. So these are great, and again, instead of tokens, anything I can add to it that kind of gives this, feel of being able to grab those and get the energy and actually have these in there. Anyway, that's something really good to add to SETI. Okay, so those are 8 things that I printed for my board games in the past probably month or so. If you guys have any recommendations on what you'd like to see printed or some of the things you're printing, please comment below. I'm looking for more stuff to print for some of my favorite games. Again, it's funny how much a 3D printer can add to your hobby because, again, it's not like I'm not very good with my hands as far as making things out of wood or whatever, but man, this you just hit print and all of a sudden something is created on this. So again, if you guys have any recommendations or things that you love that you printed, put a link below, shoot me a message because I am going to try to make this a semi-regular topic in here because I think it really does add to our hobby. All right, but anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Joy Evans, and I'll see you later on the channel.
Hey folks, thanks for joining us for that video. If you haven't yet, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, make sure you check out what's happening where I'll cover an app on an iOS or a Switch device, and you can check it out along with me. Thanks very much. You've been watching The Dice Tower.